You are now listening to Fighting for Your Life podcast. I am your host, Miguel Ramirez. On today's episode, we have a World Taekwondo silver medalist, four-time Taekwondo national champion of Ecuador, champion kickboxer, martial artist, and my dad, JR Jorge Ramirez. Welcome to the show, Pa.
Hello.
And before we get started with the show, the first thing I wanted to do was share what this podcast is going to be about, because obviously it's the first episode. My plan with this show is to interview fighters, influencers, YouTubers, anybody that practices martial arts, that has a passion for martial arts, and talking to them about their story of why they got into fighting, why they fight, the reasons why they continue to fight, maybe lessons that they've applied to their life, and just, you know, everybody has their own reasons for why they do what they do. But we all kind of share a similar passion with fighting and the different things that we do. So that's going to be the purpose of this podcast, and just interviewing, you know, people that are into the same things that we're into. So for our first episode, it's awesome for me to be able to have my dad here and be able to share where, you know, because if you guys listen to any of my other shows that I've had on Opposites Attract podcast, jiu-jitsu comes up a lot, and just the lessons that I've learned and what I talk to our kids about, and where my fighting started was with my dad. So welcome to the show, Pa. So with that, we're gonna get started and just kind of get into like how you got into fighting. Like what was your earliest memory of fighting that you remember? Whether you or, because also Papachito, your dad, my grandfather, he was a boxer, right?
Yeah, he was a boxer.
So what was your earliest memories of fighting?
Well, basically, I was 12 years old, and my daddy wanted me to get into sport.
Yeah.
And since he was doing boxing, he was a boxer. He didn't know where to put me, but he didn't want me to be a boxer.
Okay.
Because he didn't want me to get into the scenes of getting hit. I was still
Getting beat up.
Yeah. So he didn't want me to. So he said, choose another sport. Doesn't have to be boxing. So we just decided that we're going to do Taekwondo. That's Korean martial arts, Korean karate.
Yeah.
So that's how I started. I just chose that sport.
So no boxing, but Taekwondo was okay.
That's right. No, not boxing.
Okay. So when did you first start Taekwondo?
When I was about 12 years old.
12 years old?
Yeah, in Ecuador.
Yeah, I was looking up some stuff on the internet about like the history of Taekwondo in Ecuador, and there was something that I found that they said that Taekwondo, I guess, moved to Ecuador in like 1969. They were saying, and there was two Korean guys that moved there for business, but they were also Taekwondo masters.
Right.
And they had opened up, one of them had schools in Guayaquil, and then one had schools somewhere else.
In Quito.
In Quito, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I guess that's where Taekwondo started in Ecuador.
Right.
So was that about the time that you were getting started also, or like right when they showed up, or like shortly after that?
Yeah, shortly after that. Yeah, I started when 1970, 72?
Yeah, so 3 years after Taekwondo started, so it was still brand new.
Yeah, it was brand new
in Ecuador. That's pretty cool. Did you know when you were getting into it that this is like the very beginning of this sport here, or it's just like you were just doing something?
I had no idea really. Now that I remember, I didn't start with them. I started in another school, and I practiced in another school for about, I would say, about a year. And then I remember that the teacher of that school, he was a student of the Korean coach.
Okay.
So after practicing for a year, I decided that I wanted to take lessons with this guy's teacher.
Right.
Because the teacher got to be better than him.
Right.
So then that's how I went to the other school. But I practiced. It was Taekwondo. It's a Korean. martial arts.
Yeah, they had I was seeing on the website there's different styles, I guess, within Taekwondo.
Right.
And they had two different ones. The one from Quito was different than the other one.
Both
They
of them
both
were
the same?
Taekwondo. Both of them were from Korea.
Okay.
And basically, Taekwondo, what it means is that you fight with the legs. I would say maybe 70% of the fighting is done with the legs.
Okay.
That's the big difference about another style like Shotokan.
Yeah.
Shotokan is from Japan. I also took some Shotokan with another really good instructor. But that's what Taekwondo is all about. It's all fighting with the legs.
Mostly with the legs. Okay.
Yeah.
And so yeah, when at what point did you, because at first I guess it's just like a kid doing a sport, right? You're just kind of trying it out at first, but then eventually you start thinking like, well, maybe it's not like, it's still a sport, it's still fun, but maybe I want to take this a little bit more serious. Do you remember what that was or
Well, I always, when I was in Ecuador, I felt that I was the defender of the world. Anything that was wrong, I was going to be there to make sure that got to be fair.
Yeah.
And I will take care of the problem because of that. So that was one thing that I remember, that I'm always like trying to help people. I remember my sister, Daisy, she always had guys after her.
Yeah.
And she didn't like it.
That's why you learn how to fight.
Yeah, so she will take me with her so that I will defend her from the guys that, they will try to pick her up and stuff like that.
That's funny.
So I was like a bodyguard in miniature because I was only 13 years old, 14 years old at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. So did you start noticing that like after you practice for a little bit, because fighting is one of these things that I find really weird, that a lot of people are so confident in their fighting, even though they don't fight. That fighting is the only thing that's like that I've ever seen, where you don't find people that don't know how to ride a bike that say, oh yeah, I can ride a bike. But everybody thinks they know how to fight, even if they've never trained how to fight. If something starts happening, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and you're just a tough guy. But then eventually you start learning that, no, when you have some skills, then that really starts to make a big difference. Do you remember anything like that once you started training a little bit? Like you get a bigger guy that doesn't know anything and you can, do what you practice on them because they just don't have the skills yet.
Yeah. Well, I remember the first school that I told you before even taking Taekwondo, I was always number one in the school. I was always doing what I had to do, and I always will do better than everybody else. And that motivated me because I wanted to be better and better. So if you have to break, let's say, a piece of wood, I will practice so that one day I will go there and break it before anybody else. So I always wanted to be number one in that school. Then I went to take when I went to take Taekwondo, I remember that I was one of the smallest kids there, and I had to fight with big guys.
Yeah.
And my goal was to beat up on everybody in the school. So even they were bigger than me and taller than me, it didn't matter. I just wanted to win.
Yeah.
So that I had in my head my whole life like that. I just wanted to be the best of the best wherever I was.
Was it like was it more like competing with other people, or was it competing with yourself? Like I want to keep getting better. I can beat that guy, but I want to make sure that I'm getting better than I was.
Yeah, that's correct. I always felt that I had more, that I always had more to show. Yeah. And I wanted to see how much I can, prove myself and prove to the world that I had a lot of things, in me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny because that's, I feel the same way. Like there's a lot of times when I talk about on my podcast, on the other show, Opposites Attract Podcast, if you guys don't follow it, you can find us everywhere. Just Google it. But I've talked about like, there's like things that you see for yourself in your head that you can do. You haven't done them yet, but it's just a matter of actually putting it out in the world and doing those things, like accomplishing them.
And you feel special. You feel that you have something special that nobody else has, that you're the only one that has it, and that you're gonna take it out and prove it to you, the world, that you can do it.
See, I don't always feel like, I think almost everybody has it, but not most people are willing to do it. Like, I think everybody can do it. Like, if you had the mindset, like, the body is not like something. I mean, for some people, I guess, yeah, your body is special. I mean, LeBron James is 6-something and he's got a special body. But for the most, I mean, especially for fighting, which is what makes it so fair, because you can't be 5'1" and play in the NBA, but they do have a weight class for smaller people in fighting. So even if you're a small guy, you can be the best you can be in your weight class, right? I mean, like you did. And I don't know if it, like, I think everybody can get to that, but you have to be willing to put in the work, and not everybody's willing to do that. Like, I don't think I do special things, and, you know, my wife and other people are like, oh, you do this, you do that. But it's like, I mean, yeah, but it's only because I do it. I try, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So with going back a little bit with Papachito and your dad, was there anybody else in the family that fought that you know of? Like, where did fighting in our family come from? Because as far as I know, like, on my grandfather, on my mom's side of the family, I don't really know of any fighters or anything. The only fighting that I know of comes from you and then Papachito. I don't know if there was anybody else before him.
No. There was only my father. That was a boxer, a really good boxer. And I can give some credits to my mother. Yeah. My mother was not a fighter, but she was a basketball player.
Yeah.
And she was a good one too.
Yeah.
So everybody told me that I have the blood of an athlete.
Yeah.
You know, that's why.
That's cool. Yeah, I remember going to the park with Abuelita and playing basketball really and everything. Good. Yeah. That's awesome.
But my father is the only one that really was into fighting.
He was a fighting. Okay. Yeah. So now with Taekwondo, at what point, so this is probably maybe 1972, around that time when you were first getting started, like you said.
Yeah.
Now, at what point were you starting to, like, really start training? Like, you wanted to start competing and, like, taking Taekwondo a little bit more serious than just the sport or anything like that?
Well, I think it took me like 3 years for me to realize that I was that I had special skills. When I had everybody in my school that I was able to beat, it didn't matter if they were older or if they were bigger. I was able to beat everybody.
Yeah.
So then I started thinking, well, I'm the best in Guayaquil, but what about the other cities and the other provinces in Ecuador?
Yeah.
So then I started thinking that I want to prove myself to see if I can do it with the other champions of other cities.
Yeah.
So then that's how I started training harder and proving to myself that I could be not just the best of Guayaquil, but the best of Ecuador.
Mm-hmm. And
I started training a little bit different, you know, being more dedicated, doing more hard work.
Yeah.
And I was thinking that I'm special, that I can do this.
Right. Basically. And you were training that way.
Oh yeah.
That's what's crazy is that when you're thinking that way,
yeah,
and then you train that way,
you have to feel special. You have to feel that you're not part of this world. Right. Everybody's into something. You cannot be. Why? Because you are special. And you see, we're talking about when I was a kid.
Right.
My friends, they were drinking, going out and doing stuff. You know, when you were 14, 15, 16 years old.
Right.
I'm training.
Right.
I'm training all the time. If they're doing something that is not right, if they're doing, drinking or taking something that is not right, I cannot do it because I'm special.
Because it affects your performance. You're a machine.
Yeah,
but you're a high performance.
But I feel like I'm in this world because of a purpose.
Right.
And I'm not gonna screw it. So I'm gonna do it the way I'm gonna do it.
Right. Okay.
And people will look at you different.
Yeah.
People look at you like you are maybe a little bit nerd, maybe you are a little bit weird because you're not sharing with them a lot of stuff. But that's the way it is. The only way for you to accomplish and get into something You have to give up other stuff.
You have to
And
sacrifice.
I sacrifice a lot of stuff that I don't call it sacrifice because I love doing martial arts.
Right.
I love exercises and all that. So I didn't need to do any of the other extra stuff that my friends were into.
Yeah.
It's very tough when you're very young because you have a lot of stuff that you have to know how to avoid and get away from it.
Yeah, there was I listened to a quote recently, but it said it was something about like nothing that is, or no one that was ever great at anything. Like everybody looks at these people like they're crazy.
Yeah.
Like nobody, when you're training to be a world champion, before you become the world champion, all your friends are like, this guy's freaking nuts. Like he's always doing this, or he's always doing that. Or you want to come out this weekend? No, I got to go run up hills or whatever, And it's like, holy crap, this dude. But then they become the world champion.
Yeah.
Like that's why they become the world champion.
That is true. That is 100% true.
Yeah. So then you started, you say you started picking up the training, and when was your first like competition outside of your school? Do you remember what that was like?
What do you mean
because I mean, we have our training partners that we train with in school, but then like when they have an organized tournament where people from other places are coming and everybody's going to compete and see who's the best. Mm-hmm. When was your first big tournament that you remember, and like how did that go?
3 years of training made me the champion of my city.
Okay.
So then we had to compete in national tournaments right away. But even before I get into that, my first experience in the street fighting, I trained for a while, 2 years, 3 years, and I was pretty good. And I ended up fighting in the street one time.
Like it just happened, or?
Yeah, well, I looked for it, I guess. Because I had my gi, white gi, with my belt.
Uh-huh.
The belt is around, tight to my gi, and I had it right here on my shoulder. Instead of having it in a bag, so nobody sees it. No, I wanted to show off. I had it on my shoulder, and I'm walking like I'm a big shot.
Yeah.
And I see some people in the corner, and they started calling me names because I had my karate gi. So I'm Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
I went there to confront them. What's going on? So they told me, so you know martial arts? Yeah. I bet you I can beat you.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I was talking about before.
So I said, you want to try? Let's go. Let's fight. I used to love fighting. So that was my first beating. This guy beat the hell out of me.
Did he?
Oh my God. I remember I threw a kick, and then he grabbed my leg. He threw me on the floor, kicked me in my chest. He destroyed me. That was a good lesson.
Yeah.
From then on, never ever took my gi and put it on my shoulder. I would put it in a bag, just walk in the street, nobody sees me, and
just go to class.
That showed me a lot. And I remember that time that I said to myself, I still have a lot to learn.
Yeah.
Because it's different when you fight with somebody that knows the rules and you go with a style. But when you have a street fighter that
anything goes,
no rules, everything goes. Oh my God!
And they don't do what you're expecting them to do.
Yeah, so everything was different.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, we find that in jiu-jitsu too. Also, when you get brand new white belts, like the first day, like you're expecting a reaction that they're gonna make, or you do something to make them react, but they don't react the way you're supposed to react. Yeah. So it's a disaster sometimes when you're rolling with brand new people, Yeah. But so then after that, you started picking up the training, and then when did so Ecuador? It was still like Taekwondo was still very new when you were 3 years in, but even in Ecuador, I think it was only probably like 6 or 7 years old. Mm-hmm. So I know they started doing national championships while you were training. They did the first ones.
Yeah, 1974, I believe, was the first tournament that I entered.
Well, that was the first Taekwondo national tournament in Ecuador.
I have no idea if that was the first one.
I'm pretty sure that was the first, and then you became national champion after that.
Yes.
4 times?
Well, 74, 75, 76, or 77.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, 4 years in a row.
So, and how old were you in those times when you were
14, 15, 16, and 17. I go by the year. So
yeah, so you were 14 the first time you were
14,
national
15,
champion.
16, 17.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's got to be pretty nuts, like to be the champion of your country at 15 years old. What is that like?
It is like getting out of high school and having a bunch of kids outside from another school that they wanted to meet the guy that is the national champion, and they want to beat him.
Oh my God! So not like, oh, this guy's so cool. Everybody wants to fight you.
Beat on me.
Oh
so
my
I
God.
go out of school and I see a lot of people there, and they say, "Oh, you're the guy? Yeah, I want to beat you up. I want to fight with you." And I had to prove myself. We had to go to a special place in the street, so that we had to fight.
So you would fight people in the street after that?
I fight it every time.
Dang, I had no idea. I never knew that.
Yeah, we will go to a park, and there is a policeman there, so he will have something he will draw on the street. He will make a big circle, and he will tell everybody, nobody can come in the circle, only the fighters. So
the policeman was doing this.
Yeah. He will control.
He was
crowd.
organizing the street fight.
So I will be in the middle there with that guy, and I will fight with the guy.
Wow.
And nobody can get involved. Nobody can get inside, and we just fight. So every 2 weeks, I will have somebody else from another school that wanted to challenge me.
Wow.
Because of that.
How many street fights do you think you had like that? No gloves, no nothing, just street fight.
Yeah, but honestly, most of my fightings, they were done in 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Because it will only take one kick.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 kicks, and that's it. I mean, I'm talking.
Yeah.
I'm dealing with amateur people that don't have no idea.
You kick them hard one time.
Yeah.
They can't even get close enough to punch you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is a different, very, very different.
That's something with MMA today. Like you hear a lot of fighters, they're like, yeah, you think you would do this or do that? He's like, all I got to do is kick you one time in your leg. Like I give you one really hard leg kick and you're going to fall down because you're not used to getting kicked like that.
Yeah, I don't remember ever having a fight where it took so long. Never.
Wow.
And most of the fighting will finish with a knockout.
Yeah, that's crazy. I remember one thing that you hear a lot of fighters talking about is conditioning, and not just like their cardio conditioning and stuff like that, but conditioning like their bones. Conditioning your shins, conditioning your forearms. And I remember you used to tell me that when you were a kid, you would condition your arms in school or in your on the desk, right? What was that?
Well, you were in the classroom, and all of a sudden you hear boom, 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 and the teacher will turn around. Ramirez, stop it!
Yeah,
because I was hitting my seat. I was just hitting it, pow, 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 just to make my arms very, very hard, very, very strong. So
your forearms,
my forearms, yeah. So basically, that's what I used to do. Every place I will go, I will be training. No matter where I go,
hitting something.
Hitting something. My arms, my feet,
like your footwork and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. It's funny. I sent Sonia, my wife, I sent her this meme. The memes, like the pictures, the funny pictures that have sayings on them.
Yeah.
And I sent her this picture, and it's a guy with his girlfriend walking down the beach, and there's like a shooting star over. And he says, "Look, honey, there's a shooting star. Make a wish." And she's like, "I really wish you would stop practicing takedowns on me." And then he's like, "Oh, it's just an airplane." So he's still gonna be practicing the take, but it's like everywhere you go, like with my wife, with Sonia, she'll come give me a hug, and I like try to grab an underhook, or I grab her around the waist or something, but
yeah,
it's funny.
Yeah, like training is very, I don't know how to put it on, but the training, when you train for something, you gotta be very, you gotta have a specific thing that you're training for.
A goal during your training session?
A goal, yeah. You, when you're thinking, when you're training, you gotta know that you're training because of this, because you're gonna do this, not just working out. Like no, you always have something in your head.
So you're working this technique.
Yeah, not even the technique only, but you know who you're fighting with. Or I give you an example. You know, I went to the World Championship.
Yeah.
Okay, I trained in Ecuador for the World Championship. And the only person that I had in my head was the Korean guy. Because I knew that the Korean was going to be in the finals.
Yeah.
And every time I train, I always thought about the Korean.
Yeah.
And if I will do 200 exercises of something and I was going to stop, I knew the Korean was doing the same thing. And when I was going to stop, I said, no, I'm going to do more than you. And I will do 300.
Yeah.
You know, so I was always fighting against the Korean. I had no idea
without
what
him
the Korean
even knowing.
was.
Yeah.
No, but in my head, I knew that I was going to see him.
Yeah.
One day or another, I was going to see him. So I would train only to beat him.
Yeah.
You know, that's how you train. You train with a goal in your head, knowing that that's your goal and that's what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And eventually you're going to get there. And when you're there, you know, okay, now let's do it.
Now you put it all together.
Right.
Yeah. That's cool. So you say you were training for the World Championships. That was in 77. So
Yeah.
how was that? So before we get into the World Championships, I know when you became the national champion of Ecuador, you also, for a while, Ecuador has like the policy where you have to join the military, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But for you, that was a little bit different.
Yeah.
Because you
Yeah,
did Taekwondo and you were national champion. So what happened with that?
They treated me, I guess, a little bit special. They didn't let me go into the military.
Uh-huh.
As long as I pay a little fine, and they told me that it was okay.
Okay.
Yeah, basically that was it. And I had to be, I think, like 17 or 18 years old to be there. So.
Okay, and then was it the police that you had to train, or that you trained, or?
When I was in Guayaquil, I was training the national police.
Okay.
In Guayaquil, but I was assistant because
Okay.
I was young. I was 17. So my teacher, Lee Boomji, that's his name. He is the one that will teach the police how to fight.
Okay.
So he will take me there all the time to help him. So I end up fighting with all the police people there.
Okay.
You know, so I will beat everybody. I will beat up everybody. So that was cool because everybody liked me. Everybody knew me.
Yeah.
You know, so I had a good experience. I remember when I was going to my school sometimes, and I was late, and I couldn't catch a bus because they were full, and I was getting late. I see a police car passing by, and they see me in the corner waiting for a bus, and they will put the lights on, and whoop, whoop, whoop. And then I see them, and they tell me, "Hey, where are you going? You going to school?" And I said, yeah, I'm going to school and I'm kind of late. Hey, come in. So I would go inside the car.
That's
and they would
cool.
put the lights and all that. Whoa, 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 whoa.
And take you to
and they
school.
would take me to school.
That's cool.
Yeah, and everybody see me that I arrived in a police car.
You get special treatment when you're the
Yes.
national champion.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool. So then, so now after that, you started getting ready for the world tournaments, which were happening in Chicago, which I think this was the third world tournament.
Yeah, the third one. On the second world championship was done in Korea. The first one was in Korea. The second one was in Korea. And I trained for the second one.
Okay.
I trained, and they were going to send me there to Korea, but they didn't have money. You know, they didn't have the money for the tickets and for whatever. So we end up not going. But then when they had the third world championship that was done in Chicago, USA, then it was closer, and they decided, okay, this one we're going to make it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the one that I participated on.
Yeah. So I don't remember exactly how many countries, but I remember reading that there was like 720 athletes that fought in that tournament.
Yeah. Exactly, I don't know the number, but I have seen the reports about this, and I hear that it's 48 or 56 countries that participate. I knew there was a lot of them.
Yeah. And then, so how was that? What was your experience there in that tournament? How many matches did you have? Like, do you remember, or even just like getting your team together? I mean, leaving Ecuador to go to Chicago, was that your first time leaving the country?
Yeah, that was the first time leaving my country. Also leaving my family and my school. because in order for you to go to the World Championship, you have to train very, very hard before you go to the World Championship.
Yeah.
So in Ecuador, my family received a letter saying that we're gonna borrow your kid for a couple of months because we're gonna train him because he's gonna represent Ecuador. So I will not see my family for a couple of months.
It's like your fight camp.
Yeah, exactly. And the same thing, my school received a letter saying that I'm not gonna go to school because I gotta go to the camp.
Yeah.
So I stayed there with my teacher.
And this was in Ecuador?
In Ecuador,
Okay.
yeah, in Guayaquil. So we trained for like about 2 months, and we will train 3 times a day.
Yeah.
In the morning, in the afternoon, and at night, every day. That's the only thing that you did, just martial arts, and that's it.
Working out and martial arts.
Yeah, we did it for a while.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the training, and then we end up going to the World Championship.
Okay, so what was it like leaving Ecuador for the first time and competing?
Well, it was basically it was 2 kind of feelings because this is the first time that I'm leaving the country. I had never left Ecuador before, but I knew that I was representing them.
Yeah.
So it was a nice feeling knowing that again I'm special. I am representing Ecuador.
What does that feel like?
Family.
What does that feel like representing a country? That's pretty crazy.
And believe it or not,
Did you think about that kind of stuff, or
it just was in my head. In my head, I knew that I was the one.
that's what you were supposed to be doing?
Exactly. It's like I'm doing what I'm doing. Remember what I told you? When I am training, I am thinking about the Korean guy.
Right.
So this is part of my thing. This is part of the training. This is what I knew that I was gonna do. So this is just what's happening. I accepted everything because that's what I thought about.
Do you remember at all if you ever had moments during your training, like when you're training for this stuff, and then you have a date that's coming up for Chicago, like you're going to the World Tournament. This is what you're training for, and then did you ever have moments where you're like, what the hell did I sign? Like, what did I get myself into? Or like, oh man, like this is freaking crazy. Like I'm a kid from Ecuador,
Yeah.
Did that ever happen?
Not exactly at that time that you're telling me about the World Championship and all that, but I did have that feeling in another sports. I mean, I did Taekwondo, I did Shotokan, which is Japanese karate. I did kickboxing in the ring. And when I did kickboxing, I remember that.
Yeah.
Because I was in the ring and they called this guy, they called me, and I'm in the middle of the ring. Now I'm with gloves. This is kickboxing now. And I see a guy in front of me, usually taller than me. The guy looks at me very, very angry. And the guy looks really strong. And I'm saying to myself, just what you just said, what am I doing here? Why do I have to fight this guy? This guy looks like he wants to kill me.
Yeah.
Why don't I just choose another sport? Why do I have to do this? But it's a moment that you think about it. But when you're fighting, you receive your first hit. That's it.
Then it's all.
then you wake up.
You gotta go.
Then you wake up and you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
So I mean, basically, that's how I remember the day that I said, "What am I doing here?"
Yeah.
Most of the time is that I knew that I was there because of something.
And you gotta
like
train.
I said, because I was chosen.
Yeah.
I was chosen to be there, and that's what I was doing.
That's cool. So what was your experience in the World Championships? How was that, the competition itself? How did that go?
Well, since this was my first time, I didn't know what to expect. I remember the first fight that I had when they called me. Well, before that, I remember that I had I was gonna fight for a weight division, but we had 4 representatives for Ecuador, 4 different divisions, one after the other. So the day when I was gonna weigh myself, I was weighing too much. I weighed 5 pounds over.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that was not good because we had another guy that was fighting in that division. So I remember that I had to lose 5 pounds
That day.
at that moment. No,
Yeah.
at that moment.
Wow.
So you have to work out very, very hard and dry your sweat.
Yeah.
Go to the bathroom until you weigh 5 pounds less in a couple of hours,
Wow.
and then you sign up.
And then you got to fight that day.
Yeah, later on you have to fight. Yeah.
Wow.
So my first fight was for me was China. I didn't know that Guam. I had no idea what Guam is. Now
Yeah.
I know that it's an island.
Yeah.
But for me, I saw a Chinese guy in front of me.
Yeah.
And when I look at the guy, I say, "Why do I have to fight a Chinese guy? Could I be somebody else?"
I got to tell you something. Okay.
Yeah. No, well, and then I'm looking at this Chinese guy, and of course his coach is also from China, and he happened.
All you hear is when the guy gets out there.
Oh my God! So now I see the Chinese guy with long hair. The hair is all the way to his waist, and now the coach is grabbing his hair and putting like in a ponytail, managing it. And I'm looking at him, and he's like looking at me like very serious. And I am really scared. I'm like, oh my God, now this is it. This is what you look for. I was scared for real.
Who were you with? Who went with you from Ecuador?
My coach and my director and the team. We were 4 of us all together. And
Okay.
my mother was there too.
Okay.
Yeah, my mother used to live in New York, so she went to Chicago to see me fighting.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, the guy is getting ready, and I am really very, very scared. So anyway, we started fighting. He's in position, and I'm in position, and he's jumping one side, and I'm jumping another to see what it is. Then all of a sudden, the guy throws a kick to my face, a roundhouse to my face, and I just block. But it happened to be that when I block, I hit him a little bit in the leg, going up like that, and he almost fell on the floor. He almost lost his balance. And when I look at him, like he almost lost his balance, I said to myself, how can that be possible? In Ecuador, we don't have that. In Ecuador, nobody loses his balance. If something like that happens, they will just hold the leg in the air. Then when you bring your arm down, they hit you right there. So they're so good, so they're so precise.
Yeah.
That a person like the Chinese guy that I thought he's from Guam, I just touched him and he almost went.
Yeah, he lost his balance.
I said to myself, "Oh no, I can beat this guy, no problem." That motivated
That was
me.
just a little sign.
That was it. I went there and I went, pop, 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 pop. I destroyed him.
Wow.
Yeah, that I remember that was like. Then that gave me motivation. I said, "No, I can do this. If I can beat China, I can beat anybody." Where is the Korean guy?
Where is that Korean guy? So, my God. So my first jiu-jitsu tournament, I'm a white belt, and I think it wasn't a white belt tournament, but I'm a white belt, so I'm in the white belt division. And we look at the group of guys, there's like 4 of us that are all going to compete against each other. And we all look, and there's one Asian guy. and I was thinking, me and then my wife, Sonia, we're like, oh, shit. Like, really? Really? There's a freaking Asian guy in this thing? And the funny thing is that we are all white belts. We all are it's not like he has more skill just because he's an Asian guy, but it was like, oh shit, who brought Bruce Lee to this tournament? Like, what the hell? And then, it was fine. I mean, but it's just a stereotype.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's funny.
Yeah. They have a reputation, and because of the reputation.
This guy knows Kung Fu.
Right. Even though when I was in Ecuador and I was training, that reputation, I said, no, I'm going to show the world that only because they are like this and they're Chinese, they're Korean, they're whatever, we from Ecuador can be
we know how to fight
even better as long as we do what we got to do.
Right.
But when I was there, it is different.
Yeah. Oh, man. So
that was my first fight, yeah.
So how many fights did you have in the tournament?
Yeah, after that I had, I believe it was a guy from Costa Rica. Oh, that guy is also national champion from Costa Rica. And everyone had something different. one of the things I remember, the guy from Costa Rica, is that he kicked me. He kicked me really, really good in the face. In Taekwondo, when you kick somebody in the face, you get 2 points because they fight by points. So the guy kicked me in the face, and right away I just turned around and I punched him in the stomach. And I was hitting really good because my father showed me how to punch.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I remember that he hit me, boom, he got 2 points. And I went, boom, he hit him in the stomach one time. That was 1 point. And then he went on the floor. When you go on the floor, you lose another point.
Oh.
So it was 0-0. You know, so that motivated me also, that he hit me and I went, bah, boom. Then I got into it. I
So you're pretty much starting over at that point.
I started over, yeah.
Nice.
And I won the fight too. I won the fight, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Then later on, I fought, I guess, the champion of Spain.
Uh-huh.
The guy from Spain. Now the guy from Spain was very special.
Yeah.
Yeah. A guy, I had somebody in front of me, and the guy is in his guard there. Then all of a sudden, the guy turns around to give me like a hook kick. And I'm used to somebody give me a hook kick. I could either block it, maybe turn or go down. But the kick did not come this way. The kick came from up here down.
Straight down.
Yeah, they call it machete. And that's a kick that we were practicing in Ecuador, but only for like 3 or 4 months was introduced to us. But it seems like in other parts of the world, they had this kick down for a while.
They've been practicing.
This guy was really good at that kick. So he would turn around and I would go like that or whatever, and I would see the kick coming straight at me. Pah! Hit me in my forehead, on my shoulder, on my face this way. And he was winning the fight.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what to do against that. And then I remember I said, and that's what a champion, what the champion is that you train, you have a technique, and you use your technique and everything, but you always got to have something on your own, that you got to come up with something that is specially for you. And I thought about it. I said, wait a minute, I got to deal with this situation. What do I have to do? And then I saw, when he turns around, there is 1 second that he doesn't see me. When you turn around, that's you don't see the other person. So what do I have to do? Just jump and push him.
Yeah.
That's all I did. So when he turned around, I just jump on him and just push him in the back.
Make him fall forward.
Make him fall.
Yeah.
And every time he was going doing that. And then later on, when he turned around and I pushed him, when he was falling, I was kicking him. And that was the technique that I used, and I beat him, and I won.
Yeah. How crazy.
I mean, I'm giving like a general idea of the fight.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
a lot more than, but those are the things that I remember about every fighter that I had. You know,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Something specific. Yeah.
Then later on, I fought against Australia, national champion from Australia. Now this guy, I was 5'6", and this guy is 6'2", very, very, very tall, super tall, and skinny because we had to fight a weight division.
Yeah.
But still, the guy is tall. How am I gonna kick that? That's really
Yeah.
But I remember that at that time, anyway, I don't even know how they do it now. But at that time, in Taekwondo, you had to wear protection here in your stomach, and the protection that I had, it seems like it was oversized. It was too big for me.
Uh-huh.
So when I was kicking, I couldn't kick higher because it will stop me from kicking.
On your hips.
Yeah. So I was gonna fight this guy, and I saw one on the floor, a little one, maybe for a kid or whatever.
Yeah.
So I tried that and I put it on, and then when I kick, I was able to kick high, and I said, well, this is the one that I'm gonna use. So basically, that's what I did. With the guy in Australia, I was able to kick his face even though he was that high.
Wow.
But the most particular thing that I remember about that fighter or that fight is my hands. That show that whatever my father that I told you he was a boxer, he showed me how to use my hands. That helped me out a lot. So I end up just fighting with my hands. So I would get very close to him and I would just go pow pow pow, just hit him in the
But with
stomach.
boxing.
But with boxing skill. My boxing was so good that I was hitting the body, and this protection, they have wood inside. So I will cut my skin on my fist. So I have blood on my fist. Since it was 3 rounds, I would keep on fighting. His whole white uniform was red because of my blood,
the blood from your knuckles?
From my knuckles.
Wow.
Yeah. And but anyway, I destroyed the guy. That's the guy that I beat the most.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that his coach talked to my coach, and he said, "Listen, this kid got it. This kid, he's really good." Basically, that was it.
And that's the one thing with Taekwondo that's missing is the hands.
That's exactly right. That was a big thing for me because nobody used the hand. They just only use like wow. No, but boxing is different.
Yeah.
So yeah, my skill with the fist, with punching, it was very effective.
Yeah. Yeah. So what happened? So that was Australia.
Yeah, that was it. And then I had to fight this guy. And remember, this is single eliminations.
Okay.
If you lose one fight, you go home.
You're out.
So I'm fighting all these guys already, and then the next one was already to go to the finals.
Okay.
So I was gonna go fight with Korea.
Okay.
And then I had to come back though. You go to the hotel, and then 4 hours later you come back to fight that guy.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had to fight with Korea. And I had a little problem in there with the Korean because, not with the Korean itself, but with my coach. Because sadly, my coach was from Korea. And of course, he was looking for his country. I'm fighting for Ecuador against Korea. That means that I'm fighting against somebody from his country. I was 17 at that time. I didn't understand much about the politics of sports. Then later on, I understood that I thought that it was very hard for Ecuador to beat Korea in the World Championship. Remember, the first World Champion was in Korea. The second one in Korea. And now for the first time, Korea comes out to the world and does it in the United States. And comes Ecuador from South America and beat the national champion from Korea.
Yeah.
Doesn't look good for them. So what am I saying? My coach was telling me, listen, we guarantee already the second place in the world. You got silver medal already. So now you're going to fight Korea for the finals. Why do you want to fight with the guy? The guy is really good. The guy is going to kill you. Don't fight with him.
Your coach is telling you this?
My coach is telling me this. So he's telling me, I advise you, do not fight with him. You shake his hand and let him be the champion, and you got second place, you know. Yeah. So at that time, in those times, when you talk to your coach, those coaches were like, I don't know how to put it, like God. You respect them so much. You don't even look at the eyes. You're looking at the floor because they a lot of respect. So you couldn't say no to them.
Right.
But I was 17 at that time. When you're 17, when you're young, you don't care about anything. So I said, no, I'm fighting. I told you, I don't want you to fight with the guy. I said, no, I am fighting. So he got, I guess, mad at me. So I end up going back to the Coliseum to fight against the Korean guy. But he wasn't there. He decided not to represent me. He stayed in one side.
Oh, the fighter?
No, my
your
coach. Yeah,
your coach.
My coach was, and the director, because I had two guys that they were always with me. They were Korean. Both of them, they were on the side. They didn't want to know anything about me. And it was a surprise because I'm doing so well.
And you're representing them.
Yeah. You know, but
I mean, the country, but you're a direct student of theirs.
Exactly. They were mad only because I was gonna fight for Ecuador and I was gonna fight with it. The way I saw is that they probably think that there is a good chance that I can beat Korea, and they're not gonna look good, you know. So they wanted to stop me from doing that.
They're Korean and they're not gonna look good to Koreans.
So since I wanted to do it, so they said, you know what, do it on your own. But I'm not representing you. So they were not there. Luckily, my mother went to see me.
Yeah.
And my mother she became my coach.
Yeah. Was that when she?
Abuelita Sara, she was there. She was like, listen, forget about the Koreans. I am here.
Let's go
You're
kick their ass.
Ecuadorian. I am Ecuadorian, and we're gonna fight for Ecuador. You're not even fighting for anybody. You're fighting for Ecuador. Let's go do it. Kick their ass.
Hell yeah.
You know,
That's awesome.
So basically, that's what happened. So I end up fighting with the guy, and I'm gonna say the Korean guy was really good.
Yeah.
It was very, very good. We fought the first round was very even, and the second round he did hit me in my stomach. He turned around, he hit me in my stomach, and they stopped the fight, and I had to recuperate.
Uh-huh.
And then I remember the referee came to me, "Are you okay?" And I was breathing. "Are you all right?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm okay." "Can you fight?" Yeah, okay. So he brought me in the ring again with the Korean. And then he said, "Hold on 1 second." So he ended up talking to a group of Korean people that were there. It's like there's a table, a desk, that they are like referees also, but they are just watching. And also in each corner is sitting a referee. So they got 4 referees in each corner. And this table, they have 3 or 4, plus the referee in the middle.
Okay.
So they have like 9 people. And they had a little reunion there. So we had to wait. They came out and I said, "Okay, get up." Okay. They grabbed my hand. They grabbed the Korean's hand. And they declared him the champion.
But it's like you didn't finish the complete match.
No, I did not compete. They just decided that we're going to stop it right now. So they stopped it. They make me lose the fight. You can imagine a lot of people were going boo, boo, boo. They didn't like the outcome, the decision.
Yeah.
And it was just not fair.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what happened with Korea, and I lost the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the reason why I end up quitting the team. I did not go back to my country, and I stayed here.
No, I remember you telling me a long time ago about your black belt. Like you had issues even with your black belt.
Yeah. What happened is that when you go to the World Championship, you have to be a black belt. The only way that they let you fight is that you have to be a black belt. And in Ecuador, I was not a black belt. I was a red belt. In that style of Taekwondo, red is before black. We don't have brown.
Okay.
Red and then black. And I wasn't a black belt only because of the money.
Yeah.
Because in Ecuador, in order for you to be a black belt, you had to pay for your exam. And the exam will cost whatever, $300. And I didn't have that money to pay. My family didn't want to.
Yeah.
They didn't have the money. So I don't need a black belt.
Yeah.
I can be a red belt. Don't worry about it.
I just kick all the black belts' asses.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I used to do. I beat everybody. I didn't care. So when I went to the World Championship, I guess my coach had to lie, say that I'm a black belt, and they let me fight.
Oh, okay.
So then later on, I had to end up getting a black belt on my own.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So then, so that was the 77 World Championship. And then after that, you end up going back to Ecuador?
No. I decided that I was going to stay in the United States.
So after the tournament, you never went back?
I never went back.
Oh, how did that happen?
There was the president of the Chicago Federation, or the Ecuadorian Federation in Chicago. He saw the fight, and he saw that it was not fair what they did to me. So he came to me and he told me, "Listen, I know that they stole the fight from you, and I live here in Chicago. I am from the Ecuadorian Association, and if you want, you can stay with me. And if you want, you can stay in this country. You don't have to go back."
Okay.
I'm like, what? I never thought about not going back. I was going to go back. I had my family in Ecuador. But my mother lived in New York. So then I thought about it. I said, I don't have to go back. No, you don't have to go back. You can stay here. So I remember I was 17. So I decided,
at that time,
I decided, you know what? I'm going to stay. So we just took a flight and we went to New York, and I stayed in New York. I didn't go back to Ecuador.
Wow. How crazy. That's a hell of a decision, man. Right after a tournament, you're like, you know what? I'm changing countries.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was tough.
Wow. That's nuts. So then so now you moved to the United States and you're in New York. I mean, obviously you got here fighting. Fighting is still going to be something that you're doing. So what do you do now? You start looking for a Taekwondo school or
No.
Or
I mean,
what do you do?
I went to high school. And
You're still finishing high school?
I was still finishing high school, yeah. 17, I graduated when I was 19 because I didn't speak any English.
Okay.
So I had to stay like 2 more years in high school.
Where did you go to high school?
In what is Harran High School in Manhattan, in New York.
Okay.
Yeah, I stayed there for 2 years, and I became the teacher of martial arts
At the school?
in my high school. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was teaching everybody martial arts there.
But no English. You didn't speak.
Well, I spoke a little.
A little bit.
Okay. Yeah. I managed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I did. I stayed there, and then eventually I went to college. I went to Stony Brook University.
Yeah.
Right.
So you were telling me that you became the martial arts instructor at the college too.
Yeah. I went to school there, and I remember that there was one time that they had an ad in the paper that they put it on because somehow they had a karate instructor at Stony Brook, but somehow they didn't have it anymore, so they needed one.
Yeah.
So they put it in the ad that we're looking for a karate instructor.
It was like perfect.
Yeah, I said, "Look, I'm here. Let me give it a try." So I put it on. So I remember that we got together in a room, like 10 guys, and everybody brought, whatever certificate, whatever they had. And one by one, they had to talk to see their experiences, what they have
Why
done.
they should be the coach.
Yeah. Right, exactly. So everybody, talked. And then when it was my turn, I said, well, I'm from Ecuador. And I brought these pictures from newspaper. And I had a magazine where my pictures were there. I brought this magazine. And I have this medal, silver medal, second place in the world, just 2 years ago. And they asked me, how old are you? I'm like, I'm 18 now. No, 19. I'm 19. And okay. And I guess they saw the whole thing and they say, you know what? You
be the coach.
You got the job.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? I got the job at Stony Brook University.
That's cool. You were telling me that kind of like before, like you become the instructor or you become the champion and now everybody wants to fight you.
My whole life has been like that.
Yeah.
My whole life. Because I'm only 5'6".
Yeah.
And I'm not a big guy. So all the time, people pick on the little one.
Yeah.
They have a big guy next to you and they want to fight the little one.
Yeah.
So my whole life has been like that. So yeah.
Be the wrong little one to pick on.
Yeah. So I was the instructor at Stony Brook University, and I had a lot of people coming down to my classroom to challenge me to fight.
Yeah.
At that time it was okay, acceptable, I guess, because we had a lot of Chinese movies. And
yeah, it was the kung fu movies were big back then.
Exactly.
I mean, that was the time, like you said, the time of Bruce Lee.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, everybody fighting everybody, and they challenge here, and fighting with 100 people. It was crazy. So yeah, so I had a lot of people coming to my dojo, let's call it, and will interrupt my class, and they will challenge me, and they will call me names, and they said, "Oh, you're the new instructor. I want to see what you got. I heard that you went to the world championship and all that. Let's see what you got."
Yeah.
So they wanted to fight me, but I was very strict. Even when I was very young, I was very, very strict. And I tell them, not because you felt like fighting today, you came to me and fighting. I don't want to fight. I don't feel like fighting. So no, I'm not gonna fight.
Yeah.
So basically,
unless they catch you on the wrong day when you do want to fight. It's like, I was practicing this move and I've been looking for somebody to practice it on.
Yeah, I was very strict because even when you come to the dojo, at the door, you have to wait until I have eye contact with you so that I give you permission to bow to me and come in and sit down.
Yeah.
But these people will not obey anything. They will just walk in and do
whatever.
Whatever. But one day I felt like fighting. So one day a guy went to interrupted the class again, and the guy told me the same thing that he was telling me many times, that he wanted to fight me. And that day I told him, you know what, today is your lucky day. Today I feel like fighting. All my students, oh my God, that's good. So yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
So I remember that I said, just give me a little time. I want to warm up. And I remember it was basically, even though I was not imitating Bruce Lee, but I was doing the same thing that he was doing. I don't know if you saw the movie Return of the Dragon when they fought in the Coliseum.
Yeah.
Well, I open my legs like that. Fuck. All the way, and I stretch, and I throw the leg up and going down. I mean, going around. I'm just warming up, and the guy's looking at me like, "Holy shit!" I'm doing all that. So anyway, then I was ready, and I said, "Okay, I'm ready. Let's go. Let's do it." And then he goes in the ring there. I mean, in the middle of the dojo, and then he's telling me, "So, what are the rules?" And I said, "Oh no, you put the rules. Whatever happened, happened." I said, "Okay, are you sure?" And I said, "Yeah." Now, the guy, you got to see, I was probably weighing like 120 pounds.
Yeah.
In the world championship, I was 115.
Wow.
And I couldn't gain weight.
Yeah.
I couldn't gain weight. So maybe I was like 125.
Yeah.
But this guy was like 200.
Yeah.
He was a big guy that was fighting with me. So anyway, just to make it fast, because it was a really fast fight.
Anyway,
yeah, it was very fast, very fast. The guy just throws a kick with a roundhouse kick. The thing is that when you have trained so much and to that intensity, everything that you see out there is in slow motion.
Yeah.
I see the guy getting in position and throwing a kick, and I'm like looking at the guy like so slow.
It's like you can go make a sandwich and come back. And
I'm like, oh my God. So before he goes with the kick, I just turn around. Bah! One kick in the face. That's all I did. Only one kick. I turn around in the air. Bah! I hit him. The guy went on the floor. Bah! That's it. He did not get up.
Dang.
Then I'm waiting. I'm sitting. I'm jumping around like Bruce Lee. Come on, get out. That was it. So then I got him up, and the guy is like, no, I gotta go. Then the guy came to visit me like 2 weeks later, and I didn't realize that he was there at the door, because he was at the door waiting all this time.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I see at the door, and the guy is like waiting, and I have eye contact with him, and he bowed to me, and I told him to come in. He went there. He sat there until the class is finished, and then he came to me and he said he wanted to apologize.
Yeah.
That he learned his lesson, and he had sunglasses. When he took out his sunglasses, all this was black and blue. Inside was all red. Oh, yeah, it was a mess.
The eye was busted or whatever. Yeah.
Oh my God, it was really bad. Only one kick.
Yeah.
That was it. So
that
was my experience when I was the coach, the teacher in Stony Brook. I had a lot of fights like that.
Yeah.
And basically that's why because I don't remember having a fight where I had to go back and forth, that he hits me and I hit him. And like in boxing, you basically, when you have trained to a level, the fights, they finish like this.
When you're in a street fight or fighting somebody that doesn't know. People that
have no idea about fighting, they confront with somebody that knows what they're doing. The fight is finished in seconds.
Yeah.
It doesn't take long. I don't remember any fight that took me more than 1 minute.
Yeah.
Most of the fights is like, boom, that's it.
Yep. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
So you started teaching at Stony Brook. At what point do you start kickboxing? How did you get into kickboxing?
That's a good one. I started doing, I taught in Taekwondo at Stony Brook. Then I went back to New York City. I was in New York City. And I started fighting with, I remember, Shotokan.
Okay.
Toyotaro Miyazaki. He was number one in United States, really, in Shotokan. It's Japanese karate. And I wanted to keep on practicing martial arts. But there was not a Taekwondo school around my house. So the only thing they had is Shotokan. So I went there to the school, and I went with my mother, and my mother said that I want to put my son in here. But in Ecuador, different martial arts, they don't get along with each other. Okay. So if you practice Taekwondo and the other one Shotokan, they don't want to know about each other. So when I went to that school, I couldn't say I know Taekwondo, because the guy was gonna see me with bad eyes, whatever.
He doesn't want to let. He wouldn't let you in.
I don't know, but in Ecuador it was like that.
It would have been like that.
So I lied. He asked me, "Have you ever practiced any martial arts?" No. You don't know anything? No. And my mother said, "I want him to learn." So the guy accepted. Okay. How much is it? I remember $90. We're talking about $90, and we're talking about 1970.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
1977.
Wow.
Yeah, $90. So they say, my mother said, "Wow, $90." My mother was gonna pay for it, but I told my mom, no, you're not gonna pay. No, you're not gonna pay. I'm not gonna let you pay. I'm not gonna practice here, because in Ecuador, luckily they never charged me anything. Every time I practiced in Ecuador, it was for free, because they wanted to have me there for, advertising and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, I did not let her. So we went to the house, and the next day my mother told me that she had talked to the teacher, and the teacher gave her a break, and he said that I could practice for, I believe, like $20 or $30.
Okay.
And then $20, $30 was okay for me. And I said, "Really? Yeah, okay." So I go. Yeah. So I went there. But my mother lied to me. Oh. Because my mother went there, and she told me later that she had told him who I was. She brought in the medal. She brought in the papers. This is my son. And she said, the thing is that he doesn't want to tell you, because he thinks that you're going to get mad at him and you're not going to treat him right. So he doesn't want you to know that he knows this. So that teacher's like, "What? This guy just came from the world championship and all that. Oh my God. Second in the world." Okay. $20.
Yeah.
Let him in.
Okay.
So then I started practicing with him. And of course, the first 1 or 2 months, I had to make believe I didn't know what I was doing, but I learned really fast.
Oh, yeah. Somehow this kid learns really fast.
Yeah, somehow in my third month.
Oh, my God. That's like in jiu-jitsu when you get these wrestlers or guys that have like some experience. You get a brand new guy, and then you get another guy that has some. It's like, why the hell? I can't do shit, and this guy is like so good already. And that was like you, like you and another new guy show up on the same day, and they're like, "Why is this guy so good at this stuff, and I suck so bad?" Oh man.
Yeah. So it didn't take me that long. That on 3 months, I was starting kicking ass again.
Yeah.
And I was beating a lot of people there. But that teacher, the Japanese guy, oh my God. I adore him. That guy was really, I learned so much from him. In every angle, everything, a lot of things to learn from him.
How long did you train Shotokan?
I trained for about, I believe, maybe 2 or 3 years.
Really?
Only.
Okay.
Yeah, but 2 or 3 years, because I used to do Taekwondo. I was one of the best ones in the school.
Yeah.
Yeah. The problem was with Shotokan is that my first fighting in New York City, I went to fight. The guy comes to me, and I turn around, bam! My famous kick in the face, knock the guy down. I lost the fight. What do you mean I lost the fight? I just hit him.
Yeah.
No, in Shotokan, it's only points. You cannot hit the guy. It's only points. You just touch the stomach. That's it. 1 point, 1-0. But you just touch him.
Yeah.
You don't hit him. Yeah. You don't knock him out. In Taekwondo, you knock the guy out.
It's full contact.
Yeah, that's full contact. In here, no, it's only by points. So for me, it was very hard to get used to that kind of fighting.
Because that's almost like sparring. Yeah. Not even, because in sparring you get hit.
You get hit. Yeah, in here you cannot hit at all. Nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm used to not stopping. The way I train, it was that you gotta hit. Yeah. It's like I have a target here, and when I'm gonna do a kick, I don't aim the target.
You're putting it through the target.
I aim here.
Right. Past the target.
When I hit, I don't stop here. It's all the way here. So that's the way we train.
Yeah, it's hard to.
So in here, for me to stop it right there and just touch you, and okay, I got a point. It was very hard. So anyway, I lost my maybe 4 or 5 tournaments in Shotokan, But I said to myself, no, I got to train the way they do. I got to stop this. And I decided not to kick in the face because that was the hardest part, not to stop the kick.
Yeah.
And then I trained just to hit it in the body.
Okay.
And until I won one championship. Once New York City championship, I won one. They gave me my trophy. You got the champion, and then I retired.
Yeah.
I said, okay, that's it. I don't want to know about this. So now what do I do? That's how I started.
So New York City
kickboxing.
Shotokan champion.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah. But I decided, okay, that's it for me, and I end up getting into kickboxing.
Okay.
Yeah, kickboxing showed me that, hey, you can knock the guy out, you can do whatever you want to do, and that's the sport. So I started learning, and that was an easy for me to get into the sport because I had a boxing background.
Yeah.
Because my father trained me really good in boxing.
Yeah.
And all my fights in Taekwondo, I used my hands, and it helped me out a lot. So kickboxing was very easy for me.
Nice.
So then I started doing kickboxing.
Okay.
Yeah, but even in the beginning, like always, I had to learn the sport because now you gotta have gloves, you gotta be in the ring with different rules.
Right. Yeah.
So you have to learn a lot of stuff. And I remember one time I just started doing that, and then they called me, and they told me that, hey, listen, we have a fight this weekend. And one of the guys got hurt. And he cannot fight. And we're looking for somebody to replace him.
Yeah.
And we thought maybe he's your division, weight division, maybe you can fight with him. And I said, but I don't know how to do kickboxing. Don't worry about it. Just go there and fight. Yeah, I know you can do it.
Yeah, you know how to fight.
Yeah, so I remember I ended up fighting that guy. And that guy, and that fight was for a title.
Yeah.
New York State
Yeah,
title.
you were telling me that the other guy had got hurt. The guy, you were a replacement for somebody that got hurt.
For that guy that
That's
got
like
hurt. Yeah.
that's like probably a promoter's worst nightmare. You throw the guy in that's supposed to like just get beat up until they can reschedule the fight.
That was the idea. The idea was for just to I'm pretty sure that they sold the tickets already for the fight. It was in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
So they just throw somebody there and that's it. So that was me. I had no experience. I had no equipment. I remember the first fighter, it was a tall guy, and he had to lend me his rope.
Yeah.
A big rope that it was oversized, because I was borrowing stuff from other people because I had nothing.
Wow.
But anyway, yeah, I ended up fighting with this guy though for the title though. So my first fight for in kickboxing in Brooklyn, I knocked the guy out in the second round.
Wow.
With a punch.
Yeah.
On a punch right here. Boom.
Yeah. Is that the video?
Yeah, that's the video.
The video.
I have
you have a video of that.
Yeah, I knocked the guy out.
That was that's a crazy video. I remember because the guy goes to throw like a crescent kick or like a spinning kick, right?
Spinning
and like
kick
you were saying,
yeah.
But instead of pushing him, you pushed him with your fist in his face.
Yeah.
When he turned around.
Yeah. No, I remember that the way he was standing. See, when you practice, I guess any sport, when I used to fight, I would look even at the way you stand. Because the way you stand, the way you put your feet, you're showing me that you and your intentions are to do something.
Right.
And when I see it, I know what you're going to do. So what I got to do, maybe just be prepared for what you're going to do. So I help you. Come on, do it. This is your time, do it. I see what you want to do it. I can see it by you stand. So go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
So I do whatever and give him a chance for him to do it. But I'm prepared for what he's going to do so that I do it to him.
Yeah.
So basically that's what happened. I was prepared for him to turn around. And like you said, I did not punch him. I just waiting for a nice knockout here. And I hit him really, really hard. Yeah. And I became the New York State champion.
That's crazy. So your first kickboxing fight, you become the New York State champion.
Oh my God, yeah.
How crazy. Man. And another thing that I wanted to get into is in that video, my mom somehow was the ring girl for that fight. And I want to know how she became the ring girl. But before we do that, we've already been going for an hour and 15 minutes.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So
this episode has come to an end, but I think we're gonna record another one, and because we have so much more. We're just getting into the kickboxing stuff. We haven't even talked about when you started teaching me, and then all the other stuff, and teaching your friends and all that. So make sure you guys listen to the next episode, because we're gonna get into all of that stuff. Make sure you guys follow the podcast, Fighting for Your Life. You can search it on YouTube, on Facebook, Instagram. The video is gonna be on Facebook and on YouTube. Fighting for Your Life podcast, or Fight Life Pod is how you can search us. But yeah, we'll be back for another episode. We'll continue the stories about the kickboxing, and then when you started teaching me, and then there was also a time when you took me to a karate school, and there was a fun story there, because when I was a kid, I always wanted to go to the karate school, and you would teach me in the house, and my friends were going to the karate school. But then I found out that what you were teaching me was a little bit different than what they were learning in the schools, kind of like you're saying. So I was getting an actual fight lesson. So we'll get into that on the next episode. Thank you guys for being with us. We'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.